guys, welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to be doing the what you assume about us video, and we asked you guys to ask us some questions on Instagram, and so you guys sent a lot of questions in, and so we're going to be reading them and kind of maybe debunking or confirming what you assume about us. And also, if you're new, welcome to our channel, and we hope you guys like this video.
Yeah. Okay guys, so the first assumption that you guys made that we read was that Brittany is more outgoing one in the relationship. And for me, I would have to say no.
No.
I'm just kidding. She really is really outgoing. And me, I'm more so I think that I'm an introvert, and I think a lot of other people think I'm an extrovert for some reason.
I think you're an extrovert.
I think I'm an introvert. I get shy in front of people that I don't know. I think whenever I meet them for the first time. And the more I get to know them, then I get more outgoing. But
I feel like we feed off of each other a lot, where it's like I can be super outgoing, but he's more introverted, and then he's super outgoing and I'm more introverted, and it's like we just kind of feed off of each other in that. So I think I can seem more outgoing because I have a lot more energy than him a lot of the times. Yeah. I'm bubbly and all over the place, but I think for the most part we're both kind of similar, where we have our outgoing moments, but then we're also very shy and quiet and don't like to talk and be the center of attention and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. So I would say that assumption
it's partially true.
Yeah.
Partially, yeah.
Kind of accurate.
We're kind of the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so the second assumption you guys made is I assume Connor is more organized, type A kind of guy, and you're the complete opposite, LOL. And this is mostly true. Oops, sorry. He is very organized and type A, structured and serious, and he likes to get things done, and just very much like that, where I'm more bubbly and
more relaxed.
Yeah, like
type B.
Right, just kind of all over the place and not really stressed about deadlines and stuff like that, which at the same time I do get stressed and I do get anxious about things because I have a lot going on and I like to plan a lot of things, but at the same time I'm not a planner at all. I keep it mostly just in my head and then I go crazy. But yeah, he's definitely, I think, a type A kind of person. And
yeah, I get really stressed out when it comes to deadlines, and actually this kind of answers another assumption that you made, was I'm always getting frustrated because timing issues, I'm always waiting on Brittany to get ready and stuff like that. And I think that falls under the same, me being a type A, I'm structured and I want that, I want to be early if not on time.
Right. And
I don't ever want to be late or it stresses me out. And I think that was a thing before I even joined the military. I don't think that I learned that in the military, but yeah, it's just, I guess, kind of person that I am.
Yeah.
Okay guys, so the next assumption that I'll be reading is that you guys are trying or will be trying for a baby soon. They caught us, baby. They caught us.
They caught us. They're catching on.
No, but yeah, we actually are trying for a baby, and we're 24 and we just think it's time. And me personally, I've wanted a baby ever since I can remember, but of course I wanted to wait until we were a little bit older, and we just feel like the Lord is calling us to start having children. Yeah. And so, and it kind of works out good too, because you guys know I get out of the military in about 10 months, and so we start trying now.
Maybe the military will pay for it.
Military will pay for our first child, yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah. Yeah,
we are trying, just kind of, whenever the Lord blesses us with a child, then that's
and we're not, that's right. What Brittany said was right, because we're not stressing out about having a baby, we gotta have a baby right now. We're totally just trying to give it to the Lord and on His timing, and we're just enjoying ourselves while we can, and we're not we've gotta try all the time because we want a baby, but we just are trying to just let it happen when it happens. So.
Okay, so the next one someone assumed was that Connor doesn't like cats and that Brittany loves them.
So that's half right.
It's kind of right. And I don't know why someone assumed this. We just thought it was funny. But Connor actually grew up, well, when did you've always had a cat, right?
We've always had a cat, but we've always had multiple dogs.
There were multiple dogs, yeah. And then you had 2 different cats at different times.
Yeah, so far 2 cats.
2 cats, yeah. And I've never had cats ever in my life. And growing up, I always hated cats because I just thought cats were the worst. And I was a dog person. I was that person that was you can't change my mind, I'm a dog person. And not until I met Connor and I met his cat, whose name is Roxy. I actually always think her name is Kitty because I continuously call her Kitty, but her name is Roxy, and she was just really sweet. And so I was like, oh, cats are like not that bad. And I don't like actively love cats, but I think they're okay, and I don't think I would ever want a cat. I've periodically said, oh hey Connor, let's get a cat, and then I'm like, no, and he's like, no.
So I don't think our family, I don't think will ever own a cat, but of course I grew up with 2 cats so far in my family, and I don't like hate cats, but cats don't love you. They don't like, they just want to be pet, to be let outside, and for you to give them food. Yeah. And that's it. Dogs though, dogs love you.
Yeah, it's like snuggling with us.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's like kind of true, but I don't love them and he doesn't hate them, so it's like in the middle.
Okay guys, the next assumption is that Connor worked at a coffee shop and Brittany worked in a nursery. I can see why you would think that.
Yeah.
I think that maybe in another life,
yeah,
I probably worked at a coffee shop and Brittany probably would work at a nursery.
I've technically worked at a nursery.
Where? No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. When I worked at the daycare.
Nursery is for plants.
No, like a baby nursery. Oh, no, like a plant nursery.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking they meant a baby nursery. No, I've never worked at a plant nursery. But yeah, in another lifetime.
I do love coffee, but I've never worked at a coffee shop. Actually, I don't think I worked anywhere that even sold coffee. My ship has coffee on it.
I guess that describes us though. It's like you really love coffee and I really love plants. And so those are places that we could have worked.
Yeah. For me though, like I would only know how to make just black coffee. I wouldn't know like, let me get a double frappuccino latte.
2 shots and with almond milk.
Sugar and I don't want 2 packets of raw sugar minus the sugar. Raw.
The sugar?
I don't.
Okay, yeah, so that's not true. These are not true.
But Brittany loves plants.
Yeah, I do.
And we pretty much have a nursery at our house right now. And we have a little coffee kiosk at our house. And
so we're set in those.
Yeah.
That's funny, I totally thought nursery meant baby nursery. Alright, so the next one you guys assume about us is that we sometimes wish that Connor never went into the military. And it's kind of hard for me to say that that's true or not true, because I do sometimes wish that he didn't go into the military because it's very stressful and he's gone a lot and there's like a lot of sad things about being in the military. But at the same time, the feeling of the military being a blessing overrules all of those things, because we've gotten to travel, we've gotten to meet new people and have new friends and have a new church community, and I feel like I've learned so much being a military wife and matured very quickly to where I'm like, I don't think I ever would have wished that we were in the military, because we most likely would have stayed in Texas and been close to our families, and we never would have really traveled and seen different cultures and things like that. And so I feel like the benefits and the blessings that come with being a military family outrule any of the sad parts of being in the military.
Yeah, for me, like of course we knew each other and we were dating before I joined the military, so we knew what it was like before the military life. Of course she was still in college and I didn't go to college, so I would always drive to go see her, so it definitely isn't the same as it is now. But I think that exactly what she said, like just joining the military, there are so many pros that came with that than cons in our opinion, so I don't think we would trade this for anything. However, I will be getting out of the military,
right.
And so that we can experience a new married life without being in the military, because we haven't experienced that yet. But I think we've gained a lot of maturity, like she was saying. Yeah, I don't think that we wish that I never went into the military, but I think there's times that we wish that I wasn't currently in the military.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Okay, so the next assumption that we see is you never drink, and I'm assuming that means both of us. But so for me, currently, I don't have a desire to drink, and I think me and Brittany have like a glass of wine a month. But a while back, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I really let like alcohol be a big part of my life, and I would base a lot of decisions around like alcohol, whether it be like going to parties or like even just staying home. And that was back when I lived in Virginia. I would, you know, I was going to school for the job that I had, and I would just constantly go, you know, get alcohol after school and like maybe hang out with some of my friends, or just hang out in my own room and just drink and watch TV or something like that. It just really became a big part of my life. And I think it was just one, I don't even remember when, but I think it was when I moved to San Diego, or maybe when Brittany moved out with me in San Diego. I just decided that I just couldn't let alcohol be a part of my life anymore, just because one, my stomach was growing, which was bad. But the more serious issue was my relationship with God was not growing at all. I was actually getting further away because I was becoming more dependent on alcohol. And I don't think that my relationship with Brittany would have worked out the way that it did now if I was still constantly drinking and stuff like that. So, you never drink? I have drank, but other than that, no, not really.
Yeah. And I don't really either. Growing up, my mom didn't drink, and so I didn't really see it in my household. And so once I got to college, I would have the taste of alcohol, and because I didn't grow up with that, I kind of like thought it was disgusting, thought alcohol was disgusting, and so I never had the appeal for it. And I think like that comes from my mom. She just never really had like the appeal for it. And so because I didn't like it, I just like didn't drink it ever. And now even I'll only drink wine if it's a sweet wine, and because I only like sweet things. And so it's like if I don't like it, I'm not gonna force myself to like it. And I'm perfectly fine with drinking water because I love water. And so yeah, I really don't drink ever, and so it's not a huge part of our life and not a huge part of our marriage. So yeah, we don't drink. So
yeah.
Okay, so the next one that you guys assumed about us is that Christianity came naturally in your personal lives and in your marriage. And this is like not true. Sadly, I wish it was like very true, but it wasn't. And for me, I was Catholic most of my life, and I didn't become a Christian until I went to Connor's church whenever I was 16 years old. And even then, when you're Catholic and you base your relationship with God on so many rules, and my parents were divorced twice, I had to go through like not seeing my dads a lot and like a lot of trauma from that. So whenever I entered into my relationship with God, it did come with a lot of baggage and a lot of rule base in Christianity. And so that kind of like impacted my relationship because I didn't know what being a Christian meant, and I didn't know how to grow in my relationship with God because I thought it was all based on rules and the things that I did to have a better relationship with him. And so then even entering my marriage, I didn't know what love looked like because I never really felt love from a father figure. And so I had all these expectations of what a man needs to be in my life and how to fulfill my needs. And obviously, like, Connor is a fallen man, and husbands aren't meant to fulfill the needs of the wife. They're just meant to pursue God. And so with that, I was super selfish, and I just like wanted him to be my God, basically. And I've said that before in my videos. And so there was a lot of struggle with my personal life and pursuing God, and my relationship with Connor, and how Christianity was in our marriage, and what it meant to follow God and stuff like that. So it didn't really come naturally for me. It was definitely a struggle and a learning process, but I feel like now we're kind of getting this rhythm of this is what it means to pursue Jesus. And so I would say now it's a little bit more natural, but it didn't start naturally. So
yeah, and for me, I grew up in a non-denominational or Baptist church. My mom was the worship singer at the church that we went to. Did it come naturally for me? I would say yes, just because I was born into it. My mom went, and but that's just me saying that I go to church, and yes, I do believe in God. But it wasn't until I was much older, like 16, 17, until I really started trying to grow my relationship with God, and even like into the 20s, just trying to grow my relationship with God. Because it was more so like, my friends go to church, and I go to church because I want to hang out with my friends at Sunday school, or whenever I would go on Wednesdays, I want to hang out with my friends because they go on Wednesday nights. And so I wasn't really pursuing God. Was I a Christian? Yes. I got baptized when I was really young, like 10 years old. And so yes, Christianity came naturally to me, but it's not like me calling myself a Christian isn't what it's all about. It's growing your relationship with God and learning more about what he did for us on the cross. And so I really didn't dig into that and start really pursuing that until much older. Actually, while we've been married, I've been digging more into it. And so did it come naturally in our marriage? I would say, so we started going to church together before we got married, like Brittany was saying.
Yeah.
And so we would, like, we were already kind of on that path of pursuit, and we had a better understanding.
And I think because in marriage we didn't start our foundation on Jesus, it was really hard for us to pick that up in the long run.
Yeah.
And I think if we would have started on the foundation of Jesus, it would have been, okay, we both have the same values, we know what we want in a marriage, and you know, blah, 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 blah. But because it was like, I kind of knew Jesus, he kind of knew Jesus, but we didn't really establish a foundation, we kind of had to learn along the way, and then it got kind of chaotic. And so yeah, it just like it did not come naturally to us. We both had to learn along the way, and I think just now we're starting to learn a lot, and we're starting to be on the same page, and it's starting to come naturally. But for a long time and in the beginning it wasn't. And I think it's even harder when you're in a military relationship, because the first year of marriage we spent apart, second year of marriage we spent half apart, we didn't come together until May, and then the third year of marriage, deployment. So this is really our first year of marriage being together, and so we're just learning how to live as a Christian married couple and establish a strong foundation in Jesus. So yeah, it can be difficult, but we're learning.
Yeah. Okay, so the next assumption that you guys have is that you guys barely fight. And this was actually like half of the assumptions that we got were like, you guys barely fight. And that's wrong, and I think that's almost wrong in every marriage, because I think every marriage comes with fights here and there, but
and disagreements.
Disagreements, yeah, for sure. But it's like, we're not gonna, the reason why you guys assume that is because we're not gonna record us fighting.
Yeah.
You know? We're not gonna start fighting and then start recording ourselves. But
right.
We do have disagreements, and a lot of that has to do with the way that we were raised and the way that we grew up. Like, for instance, I think finances is gonna be one of the biggest reasons that married couples will fight about, is the way that we spend our money. And for me, I grew up with the notion of I have a job, because I got a job when I was 15. I have this job, I'm making my own money, and I'm gonna spend it how I want. And that's been a thing ever since I got a job, just because I was a hard worker and I worked for my money, and so I wanted to use it. But her family didn't have a lot of money when she grew up, and so they spent it really wisely, and they budgeted, and you know, if they didn't need it, they didn't buy it. They didn't ever buy anything that they really wanted, just needed. And so we, you know, have little disagreements about how we're going to spend our money, which is, I think, is a normal thing in a marriage, but we try to compromise as much as we can. And then there's other things that we have fights on, like things that annoy Brittany that I do and that I keep doing, she'll get onto me for. And then just coming home, stress from work, I'll find myself taking that out on Brittany, voicing my anger at her, and not really even being mad at her, but just taking out my anger on her, and then that'll start. That sounds like I beat you when I come home.
No,
so I don't beat her. She beats me all the time, but yeah. And so, is there anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, just kind of agreement with him that it does a lot of the time seem like we don't fight, because when we turn the camera on, it's usually because we've resolved an argument and now we can move on with our life, because we're not gonna just take the camera out and be like, look at him and what he's doing, and you know, because I feel like that would just fuel the anger even more. But we do definitely fight, and we're just actually learning how to fight in a healthy way, because for a long time it was yelling at each other and getting mad at each other, and someone even assumed that we never cuss, and I never have cussed. And whenever we started to be married and start fighting with each other, like, cuss words would start to slip out of my mouth because I would just get so mad. And just now we're like starting to be like, okay, we can't do that anymore. We need to be healthy and have healthy communication. And you tell me like clearly how you're feeling, I'll tell you clearly how I'm feeling, no interruptions. And so we're just like learning these things. But again, like, this is our first full year of marriage, and we're just like, again, having to relearn every single time he leaves how to communicate again and how to fight well. And so yeah, we definitely do fight, so don't let us and our happy faces trick you. Okay, so the last one is, I don't want to assume, but I'm curious if you chose to stay pure till marriage given your faith. So kind of just to go back to what I was saying earlier is I was raised Catholic, and so a majority of what I thought about purity was rule-based, and I thought that I would be shamed if I was like ever had sex or if I wasn't pure. And it wasn't like I want to keep my body pure for a man because of this reason and my relationship with God. It was more of just like, I'm scared of what people are going to think about me, of like all this fear-based. And so for a majority of my life, I did stay pure and even waited to have sex until marriage, but I did do things that I wasn't supposed to with guys, but I did wait until marriage to have sex with my husband. Just even now, having a relationship with God, I really wish that I would have like been 100% pure and waited for Connor, but I mean, I can't take that back, and I know that now there's no shame or condemnation in Christ Jesus, but there is like that hard part of me that wishes that I did.
For me, it's kind of the same. I mean, we've been together for 4 or 5 years before we even got married, and like she said, we waited until we were married. But for me, before we dated, I had sex with someone, and I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and because I wasn't strong in my faith, and it was more so just a thing that I went to church, but I didn't act out on it. And so for me, I did all those things before we started dating. And so when we started dating, and Brittany mentioned that she wanted to wait until marriage, and I was like, you know what, yeah, like, okay, let's do it. And of course, I'm sure I prodded her and tried to ask, but as strong as she is, she didn't budge. And ultimately, when we did get married and we did experience that with each other for the first time, it was very beautiful, and I think.
Yeah.
And it was definitely worth the wait. Not only because in the moment it was beautiful, but the heart change that we had for each other was really special. So yeah, but for me, I was sad about it, and I'm still sad about it, but I know that, just like what Brittany was saying, is like there's no condemnation in Christ, and now we get to share that intimate relationship with each other now that we're married, and it's just been awesome.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we wish that we would have done differently just before we got married and in our marriage, but yeah, don't assume that we're perfect, because we're not. We fight, we have sometimes a broken marriage in a lot of ways, and we just continue to look to Jesus to fix them. And even like starting off rocky of baggage from our past and bringing it into our marriage, and then kind of baggage in our marriage because we didn't start on the foundation of Jesus, but we just keep working towards it. So our camera died right before we were ending.
So we're using our phone now.
Yeah.
So we hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for sending in your guys' assumptions. And we actually really enjoyed doing this video. Being vulnerable with you guys, it really not only helps us be more vulnerable with each other, because we know we can, and be vulnerable with other people, which is important, but you guys get to see us and who we really are, and so we're not hiding behind the screen and trying to make up this fake life. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we hope to see you again.
Bye.